I do.
You get me water? I can't, I'll just use my cup.
We're recording. Incoming. There comes Ann. Good
Where's
morning.
Where's Kirsten today?
Oh, we offed her.
Ah.
Yeah, she's the princess is getting ready.
Oh.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see you too. Albeit so through a camera.
Ski trip.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was great.
Was it?
Yeah, really great.
Awesome.
Turning on that. Oh,
There's Sue.
Oh, looks like Ann's joined.
Sue's there.
Sue's
I'm
there.
gonna mute.
All right. All right, so in honor of those that showed up on time, we'll get the class started. All right. It's a back to basics class. It's been a while since we've done this. To get started today, we're going to come to the center part of the mat and take our feet and step the heels out with the toes angling towards our center line. I'd like you to bring some straightness to the legs, almost like you have a little string tied on the back of the knee and like pull it out. Now, if it causes any compression in the knee, just back off of it ever so slightly. Now, with the legs set up, let's start working our way through the hips and up. I'd like you to take your six-pack muscle and begin to engage that. And as you start to straighten down on it, I'd like you to take your hips. And imagine the pubis is going to be pulled up as you engage the six-pack, and I want you to push it forward slightly. And as you do so, you can take the vertebrae of the spine and imagine you have a string now attached to the top of your head, pulling that vertical column to the sky. Let's draw the shoulders up and open the palms to face forward, spreading the fingers widely. Let's draw the elbows backwards. Now take your upper arms and squeeze them into the body and keep the hands, you don't need a 90 degree, just keep the hands in the position they are and begin to open and close. Maybe fingers can touch. If they don't, that's fine. And just keep this pattern moving as we begin to warm up those muscles in the back of the shoulder. Remember, benefit this as much as possible. Smaller muscles as much as possible. I like you to sweep those upper arms as best you can through the full range of motion, the in and out forearms. You know, let's hold it out, extend it all the way out, palms facing to the sky. And as we take a big breath in, salute the sun. And then lower the arms down, shoulder height. I have a seating fan on it, so a little awkward. Now, what I'm going to do is going to make sure our arms are about shoulder width apart. I'm going to draw the shoulder blades back. Now, while we're in this semi-hinged position, you have the upper body. I want you to continue to lengthen it. And then take that imaginary string on the top of that and pull it proud. And while we're doing that, I'd like you to re-engage that six-pack muscle and kind of like publicly pull the pubis in. Keep that six-pack actively working. And while we keep that all engaged, I'd like you to take your heels and try to push them off the sides of the mat. It's not an actual movement, of course. It's just isometric, holding them in place. So we keep on this for 1 second. Take a big breath in. Exhale it. On the next breath, raise the arms and then lower them down and let them sweep all the way back. As the thumbs transition past the hips, rotate them externally so the palms are opening up. Now, sweep forward, palms turn to face. The thighs. You can sweep back and open. So all the while, we have our heels pushing out towards the edges of the mat. Might feel a little burning on those outside hips. That's perfect. Those are the muscles we're keeping also active as we warm them. And also the shoulder carriage, moving arms back and forth. Enjoy for a couple more movements. Now hold the arms up, flex the legs, step them in. We're going to keep the arms up shoulder height and shoulder width. I'm going to step the feet in. I'm going to open the toes slightly. So we have heels closer together than toes. And we're going to take the butt back and we're going to lower down as we come into a squat-like type position. And then raise back up. We're just going to oscillate up and down. Now, as you move up and down, I want to be mindful of winking. That's when your hips kind of do some funky things, like you're trying to keep the hips from swaying inward and outward. If you lower and raise, a couple more times. Standing up, stepping the feet face straight forward. Let's bring hands over hearts. Lock the fingers, rotate the fingers into that chest plate, and raise the elbows. You're going to try to keep palm to palm. So if you separate it, try to bring the palms together, keep the elbows high, and we're going to begin to squat down. Your range of motion may be different from what you did just a few seconds ago. Perfectly normal. But work the range down. See how much lower you can get without winking. Don't get pressure with those hips. No winking. Let's do a few more repetitions. The upper and middle back. Kind of do a little bit of muscle activation. Says Kirsten. All right. Stand tall. Release the hands forward. Can fall down. Shake it all out. You're welcome. Welcome back, Sean. Now, get set up on our next exercise. We're going to step the right foot forward. We're up in the toes of that back foot. Just make sure we have nice distribution, not wobbly. We have weight equally positioned left and right side. Now we're going to take that front heel. We're going to begin to pull like there's a spring on it. Pull it in towards the bottom. As you keep that, you might feel the hamstring kind of working a little bit. That's what we're looking for. We can get it. Hold on to it. Now we're going to stretch that muscle out by bringing hands over heart, and we're going to keep the spine long and hip hinge, and we're going to get two things going on. A slight pull of the heel as we lower and raise the bottom. So now, two phases of traction here. We're eccentrically loading, which is a big term. Just means we're going to get a nice stretch as we go down, and good muscle activation between the hammies and the gluteals when we rise up. Let's do that for a few more reps. Try to make sure you're not rolling onto the side of the foot, ball of the big toe, kind of the anchor point of the front foot. As we rise this time, switch up sides. Same thing, opposite sides. Left heel gets that little bit of pull, and let's get into action. A couple little cues in regards to folding forward, making sure you're not letting those shoulders dip down. In other words, you're keeping that spine nice and long. You might find your range of motion is able to increase. One foot muscle increases. Just meaning more reps you do. Try to go just a little lower. Keep that heel pulling. So let's do one more rep and we'll step it forward. You rise up, step forward, shoot those hands up to the sky, and watch my band, and then do a nice fold, take it all the way down, let that body hang out in our inverted position. Have a little bit of a runny nose, so I'm gonna do some modification. If I have an issue, I'm gonna teach you. No, just it's gonna be an ongoing thing. Just deal with it now. Bring hand to opposite elbow. Just let it hang out. We're really using those back muscles. Those are posterior chain or back muscles. But just kind of hang out, chill out a little bit. But when you're ready, fingertips to the floor, palms come to the floor as you step back into plank pose. Now, lower leg muscles, the calf, the gastroc, these muscles, we're gonna kind of work them a little bit by simply pushing forward with the toes, which means our shoulders are transcending the hands, so kind of pushing over. Try to keep the upper back in a nice, solid state. And rock back. As you rock back, try to push the heels towards the earth and feel that nice stretch through the calf area. This time, when you push back, pull your hips up and back to down dog. With your arms down, you can keep your elbows and rotate them down towards the earth without rolling up onto the sides of the hands. So trying to keep the palms, the weights equally distributed. Take that imaginary string on the top of the head, pull the neck long, and then take that neck, the long position, take the string off, put it on your tailbone, and use it to pull the tailbone higher to the sky. Now, pressing through that neck region of yours, drive the heels to the earth, push up under the tippy toes, and do that for a few more repetitions. Explore the range of the down with the heel. See if you can get a little more. When you're ready, bend the knees, lower them to the earth or your mats. Step your hands out nice and wide to the edges of the mats. Much the same way we did with our heels, we're going to bring the heel of the hand to the sides of the mat, and the fingers are going to aim to the center line. And we're going to do the same thing with the knees and toes. We're going to step them out nice and wide. So we have a big, solid base. We take our imaginary string again. If you use our imagination, everyone wants to join it. Now, it's going to go right to the center part of the spine. So I'd like you to pull that towards the spine, and then ceiling, closest middle of the spine to the ceiling. Tuck the hips under. So this is that pelvic rock. We're going to kind of use the pubis and pull it up and in towards the belly button. So it's really translating forward and then rotating upward. Enjoy this stretch for a couple more seconds until we take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, reverse it. So now the tailbone, the back of the head, pull the sky, but now we're actually pulling the spine long. So drift the hips back, pull the shoulders forward, then pull the tailbone and back of head to the sky. And while you're doing that, I'd like you to pull your belly button up and in towards the spine, and we'll reverse this. Keep the belly button pulling up. Center of spine with the string, pelvic tucking in, and reverse. One more time, reverse. Try to keep the belly pulling up for the whole exercise. Last time, reverse, back of head, tailbone to the sky. And when you're ready, step your hands in and there goes my knee. Have a seat. Sucks to get on, doesn't it? I'm gonna grab a little bit of water. Cheers to everybody. Happy fun day, Sunday. We're gonna bring our heels to the edges of the mat. And we're gonna take our toes and we're gonna kind of line them straight up. So if you kind of look through your kneecap center part of the toes, kind of in that same line. Now, sitting on your tailbone versus rocking up onto your sit bones. So it's really that pelvic rock again. And once you can do that, or if you need assistance to do that, simply take your hands on kneecaps and pull and lengthen, pull with the arms, lengthen with the spine, and try to get that pelvic issue, sit bones onto the mat. Now, once it's there, let's test some strength. Let's release the hands, see if you can hold. If you can, extend the arms up, and it kind of collapses down. Use the assistance again, and then release periodically. But make sure you keep coming back to that nice extended spine with the sit bone type of orientation on your mat. Now with the arms extended, I'm going to ask you to lean back And again, this is all variation, you know, where you are, so you just vary as necessary. So I'm gonna hold back. And then come forward, and then dive the hands in between the legs and walk the fingers forward. So now we're going into spinal flexion. This should also feel good because we were working the same muscles we're lengthening out right now earlier. And then let's walk the hands back, bring them over heart and body style from the hips to the tucking under the lumbar or lower back, imprinting vertebrae by vertebrae all the way down. You still have a bend in your knees, right? Good. Now you're gonna take your feet or your heels and step them in about hip width apart. Now, if the angle in your knees is acute, less than 90 degrees, I'd like you to step it out so it's obtuse. Wider than 90 degrees, you're gonna bring your thighs together. So as we inwardly rotate the legs, you're gonna bring your toes and thighs to touch. So the kneecaps get a chance to hang out and chat a little bit. While you keep that inward rotation, I'd like you to take your thighs and squeeze them together. Hopefully you get a little bit of trembling with those inner thigh muscles. Let's hold on that for a second. And as you continue to hold on that, I'd like you to take your feet and flex them. So that's bringing your toes closer to your shins. So now that we've got the legs set up, let's go upper body, tummy wise. Imagine I'm gonna drop a cannonball. I bet you haven't been waiting for that one. I can just tell. On your belly, and you should hold that six pack active. I'd like you to flatten out your shoulder blades and drop your arms beside your body, coming up onto the fingertips. So basically your hands are cupped, the tips are at touch point, and keeping that nice active six pack. I'm going to ask you to start to exert pressure into the mat with the heels. But two things are very important here: the squeezing of the legs and the flexing of the toes. As you begin to push more, try not to let the toes point out. You want them pulling in towards the shins and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze your thighs. And then relax it all. Step the feet out, sweep the hands above the head. Let's elongate and enjoy a little bit of reprieve. Fill the lungs with air. On your next exhale, let's set this back up again. We're going to start lower body once again. A little bit of practice for the first time makes more effective the second time. That's called muscle memory. As we continue to squeeze the thighs, toe to toe, flex the feet, engage the six pack, flatten out the shoulder blades as the arms beside the body descend to your mat with the fingertip touch. As we begin to push your heels into the mat, keep that six pack engaged and try to create elevation if you can. Now, very importantly, as the hips elevate, I'd like you to squeeze those legs together and then lower down and extend those legs all the way up. And arms all the way back. Oh, yeah, enjoy it. And then we're going to do a series of Pilates sit-ups. So let's bring the hands back over the hips, or hands back over the chest. And you're going to drop your chin into the chest, and vertebrae by vertebrae, up we come slowly as possible, and enjoy the dive down. So we did that one exercise with the inward rotation a couple of times. We held it for a long time, so we got a lot of activation there. This should be enjoyable now. Hang out and enjoy. As you inhale, bring the spine into extension, and then walk your hands back up to a seated position. Hands are going to return over heart again, and then Pilates style, we're going to take it back down. Oh, Sean needs a little practice at this. It's been a few weeks. All right. Now, once again, we're going to come back up Pilates style. Now, you can add variation. I use hands over hearts. You can have your hands forward. You can have your hands above the head. Hands above the head is the most difficult because you have the most weight. to bring up. It's not over the center of gravity. Dive them down, walk them out. Now let's point the toes. Extend the spine flat. See if you can grab your pointed toes and begin to pull them in towards your shin. Now, if your heels have risen off the floor, see if you can get them settled onto the floor, and then take your toes and get your palms a little closer over top to pull down, to get a nice plantar stretch. That's that bottom center part of the foot. As you inhale, extend to the flat back. As you exhale, release, and let's sweep those legs all the way back and around as we come onto all fours. We're going to position with knees under hips. So there's a forward and back and a side to side. And both of those have a center position. So the knees are directly under the hips. We're going to bring the hands out just slightly wider of the shoulders. And we're going to put that imaginary spring, pull along with the neck, and keep that neck nice and engaged by really trying to lift the back of the head towards the sky. Now, we're going to scapulate, just kind of move through the shoulder position. So I'd like you to kind of drop the chest in between the arms without bending the arms. We're not bending the elbows to get low. We're actually taking the torso and letting it descend through the arms. And I'm going to push back up. And we're going to, same thing we're doing earlier in terms of oscillation. So we're going to basically move up and down with the torso. When you lift up, imagine your chin is pulling through the bottom. So we're not craning or pushing it forward, but we're literally like taking a chin strap and pulling it high through the face towards the back of the neck itself. You notice that my spine isn't really articulating. It's not going round, it's not flexing or extending, it's just staying neutral. So try to do that for a couple more repetitions. Now we're going to keep in the up position, which means our shoulders are slightly front. We're going to take our elbows and rotate them in towards the center line of the body. We're going to take our hips and draw them backwards towards the heels. And we're going to walk the hands forward. And as we come into our child pose, we're doing so with extension to the back. So let's walk the hands forward. Feel those lats and other muscles around the shoulder start to lengthen out. Keep the spine long. Make sure you're not compressing through the neck. And then try to spiral your elbows in towards the center line while you keep the palms flat to the earth. Take a big inhale. As you exhale it, see if you can bring your chest a little closer without compromising the arms or shoulders. Just to simply deepen the stretch. Let's raise it back up and come back onto all fours. Drive the heels into the earth as we come into down dog. It's kind of a short dog, not a hot dog, not a long dog, just a short dog. Drive the heels to the earth and walk your hands back towards your body. We're still inverted, but you're going to inhale and extend to a flat back. Now, while we hold that extension, I'd like you to kind of get a registration of your feet. Are you heavy to the front? Are you heavy to the heel? Or can we just kind of shift forward and back and get equal to both? And if we can, let's hold that as you kind of work to straighten the legs. You feel those hamstrings going, oh, that feels kind of good. Keeping that back in extension. Now, let's change the orientation of weight bearing mostly to the heels. So drift the hips backwards a little more. Walk the hands forward. Give me a big breath in. And as you exhale, let the upper body just fold down and relax. Release the hands from the floor and bring them to opposite elbow. Palms to opposite elbows. Let's step the hands onto the thighs. As you inhale to a flat back, parallel it to the mat. So we have a tabletop back. Now check in with your shoulders. If they've kind of dropped down, I'd like you to imagine you've got opening across the back. Again, this can sometimes express as a compressive behavior in the neck. By way you're going to make the spine long as you create external rotation of the shoulders. And keep your neck nice and long. Straighten out the legs if they've bent. As you inhale, begin to unhinge through the hips and sweep the arms all the way to the sky. Beautiful. Let's take that left hand now, place it down on the hip. Spread out those feet a little wider than hip width apart and use the fingers that are spread widely to pull that right side shoulder to the sky. As we push the right hip out, I'd like you to continue to let the arm sweep towards the right ear. And as you have that sweep, it might get to a certain point where it doesn't sweep anymore. Just hold on that. Now, that right hip we have pushing out, I'd like you to kind of rotate it backwards, just slightly. So we're kind of opening that right hip a little bit or rotating it slightly back. Now, while we're holding that, I'd like to take your right heel and turn it away from the body. So isometrically activate, get a little bit of extra in this motion, in this stretch. Bring those hips back, centering down, and switch up sides. Pull it high, push it out. Let the arm descend towards the ear. Rotate that left hip back. Take the left heel and try to push it away from the body. How wonderful is that? Sweep it back up. Relax it back down. Drip the shoulders up to the ears. Hold tall. So we have the arms, palms facing in. We're going to draw the elbows back so the hips and hands kind of have this position close to each other. Palms are facing in. Someone's really good at listening to instruction today, or someone's really bad at giving them. Don't know. Anyways, so the palms aiming towards the hips. Kind of got the tough guy pose. Yeah, you want to pick a fight? You want to pick a fight with me? All right, enough with the fight. So we have the palms facing in, fingers nice and wide, chest is proud, and we're going to begin to kind of create elongation of the spine. So I'd like you to take your six pack and engage it slightly, not locking it down. We don't want the inward rotation of the upper body. We want to be able to lengthen out those muscles as we grow the chest, expanding out. Imagine we have springs on the shoulders, pulling out and away from the center line, keeping that neck nice and long, no compression, right? Now, while we're holding on this, let's add a little bit of fun. Let's take the heels and instead of pushing them away, let's try to pull them into the center line of the body and get those inner thigh muscles a little more active. We're going to hold on this as we begin to do some good morning. So hips pull back, upper body long and neutral, folding down and raising back up. Very important, we keep those elbows pulling back and that chest proud. Spine is not articulating, it's really immobile. The movement point is just the hips. And we're going to give those inner thighs a little bit of work by keeping those legs squeezing together. So I have my thumbs right on my hip joint. I don't know if that helps you or not, but it allows you to kind of get a spot to push and raise up. And we'll do it one more time because this is so much fun. And as we raise it back up, bring hands over heart and everything, shake it out. And we're going to come to the center parts of the mat. Nice. Now, so we're going back to basics today. A lot of basic moves, a lot of fundamental movements. We're going to bring our feet into a lunge type position. We're going to have hands over heart to start as we set this up. Now, distribution, how far apart we are. Just make sure we have the feet where you're stable, not on a tightrope. And once you've got them in your nice spot, I like you to kind of like drop your hands down and check out your back heel. Is it angled in? Is it angled out? If it's either of those, angle it straight up, and then let's bring our upper body back up, keeping that heel aiming to the sky. We're going to take the ball of the big toe, that front foot, we're going to push it into the mat. We're going to have a slight bend in the knee, but we're going to make sure the knee is back and the foot is towards the heel, not towards the toes. As we keep that, we're going to take our upper body and lean in a little bit. So we're loading into our gluteals, and our hamstrings are going to work a little more isometrically. They're not really moving. Now, back leg, here we go. We're going to drive the heel down and push back up. kind of like a piston moving up and down slowly, and try as best you can to allow that ankle to maintain the same line as it moves up and down. So it's not going out or in, just straight up and down. Let's do a few more repetitions before we hold it in the up position. Now, woodpecker, here we go, baby. Extend the arms out. Palms are facing. We're going to reach the arms long as we raise them up. We're going to sweep them down, open the palms as they transition past the hips. And we're going to do this for about 4 or 5 repetitions. You can do your own counting nice and slow. Enjoy the process. When you open the palms as they transition by, try to proud out the chest. One more time, up, hands come over heart, back foot steps forward, and guess what? Opposite side, you guessed it, you guys are right on. Let's take that little dive down. As we dive down, check in with that heel. Make sure you got it aligned. Sometimes our body and muscle memory makes it feel like it's aiming straight up, but now we can actually see it, correct it, keep it, walk it up, and begin to enjoy all of the fun as we begin to participate with loading these muscles. We're going to start with hands over heart, ball of the big toe. We're going to lean in so we get a little bit of that gluteal, nice and active. That muscle starts to warm. We're going to extend the arms out. Oh, sorry, hang on a second. Someone's getting way ahead. She's not even teaching the class. I'm going to begin to piston the foot down and up and continue. Keep the ankle moving in a straight line between the up and down. Oh, yeah. I can hear a dog going, oh. Nice. Ain't nothing but a hound dog. All right, a couple more repetitions, holding up, extending out. Time to get this woodpecker going. Raise and lower, route it out, reach it up, route it up, keep it going. You may notice that the burn on one side is different than the others. Sometimes due to the duration, we do a little bit longer on one side. Sometimes we're just stronger on the other side. Either or, it's good work for both sides. On the next one, reach it tall, hands come over hard, back foot steps forward. Take a deep breath. I'm a lot of breath today. All you beautiful ladies have me breathless. All right. Now with hands over hearts, we're going to begin to fold halfway down and tabletop the back. Let's bring the palms to the shins. We're going to bend both knees and come into a squat-like position. Again, just checking in. If you've gone into spinal flexion, keep the extension going. I know you want some attention, don't you? You're a good girl. Yes. So, kind of like in a ski jump type position, but we have our hands on thighs. So, making sure we've got the shoulders pulling out and away from the body. Push the hips up to the sky, and then come back down to the ski jump position. Now, as we do this, I'm going to add a little nuance, which is your heels. I like you to isometrically try to push them off the center line without letting the knees buckle in. So raise all the way, lower down, external rotation through the heels, through the whole range of motion. We're leaning forward. We're not standing tall. As you come down, keep the lean. And as you rise up, keep that lean. A few more times. Rise up, hold up, sweep your arms to the sky. Salute the sun. Exhale, fold it down, taking it down to the mat. Hip mobility, so key, so key. Cheers to everybody. Cheers. All right. All right, so now that we're down on the earth, we're going to do some nice stretching. Going to come all the way down onto your back. We're going to take the knees and pull them up and into the chest. And we're going to kind of roll the knees. One is going to go clockwise, the other one's counterclockwise. As we roll, try to increase the range of motion.
You can get your back into this as the knees go forward. You can lift it up and off the mat. It's all good stuff. Just practicing a little bit of joint mobility through those hips, and then settle down, lower your feet down, and bring them out to the edges of the mat. Pelvic rocking, and a rock and roll, baby. Now, most of us will be on our tailbones. We have a little bit of anterior forward orientation of the hips. I'd like you to try to rock it back so that the lower back, you can kind of feel the skin connect with the mat. That means your pelvis is actually rocked back and your lumbar spine is more in a neutral state. And it's all relative. People have different curvatures, so you may not achieve what I just described, but give me your best version of it. And with that, I'd like you to kind of engage your six pack and hold on this for a couple seconds. And then while you're holding on this, we're going to lift the right foot off. We're going to keep the bend in the knee. So we're just decreasing the angle in the hip as we pull the knee in towards the body. But the angle in the knee itself is remaining the same as we turn it back to the earth and switch sides. So now that we begin to warm these muscles, our hip flexors up, we're going to add a little bit more load. So we're just alternating from side to side. And now, let's start on the right side. We're going to bring it in and then extend that leg all the way down so that the heel descends to touch the earth. And with legs straight, you're going to raise that leg up, bend the knee, and put it back down onto the earth. Opposite side, pulls in, extends all the way out, sweeps up, knee bends, and foot returns back to earth. Hopefully you got it, because we're going to continue with this for a few more repetitions. Make sure you get the heel touching. You extend it all the way out. Keep the legs straight when you sweep up. Couple more repetitions. Reps. Oh my goodness. Did you want to teach this class? All right, let's bring our feet down onto the earth. Spread them out. Let's move the heels out a little farther away from our butt. Bring our hands together. You can interlock the fingers. You can keep them apart. We're going to do a Pilates style sit up, dropping the chin and printing vertebrae by vertebrae as we come up and then diving down. And this time we're going to rep it out a little bit. Slowly rolling back. Extending all the way out, getting that nice stretch through the abdominals, and then coming all the way back up. We want to be able to try to target and teach our six-pack muscle to work inwardly and avoid an outward push of it, which you often see happen. People start to engage it, and their belly pushes out. We want it to be more of a stabilizer for this forward and back flexion of the spine. So I want you to practice pulling it in as we engage it, as we come up, kind of sucking in and using it at the same time. It's a trained behavior. We train it to push out when we sit for long periods of time, and then this is kind of a counterbalance to doing that. This is a great exercise for helping us control how those six-pack muscles work and function for us. Oh. Let's hold it up, dive it down, extend the legs all the way out, walk it forward, and enjoy a nice hamstring stretch. Let the upper back lengthen out. As you inhale, extend to a flat back. Let's put a bend of 90 degrees in that left knee. Let's take that right leg and sweep it all the way backwards as we come into 1990s. 90 and 90. We'll come down on the forearm on that left side. Now, again, this is all about stable shoulders. So many of us, muscle memory, will have us kind of rotate it inwardly. I'd like you to externally rotate, route out the chest, and keep that nice and long as we take the right arm and extend it to the sky. Nice. Now, we're going to take the arm and sweep it directly backwards. If you need any cushioning for your elbow, you're always able to put it in as you need, and then sweep it forward. So it's basically following the same line, which is really parallel to your mat. Shoulders rotated inwardly on the right side, externally on the left side. I'm going to raise up, sweep back, open up, sweep it forward. Keep that left shoulder on an external rotation. Keep those muscles active. Don't let it creep inward. It's going to want to, but don't let it. On this one, we're going to sweep it forward, and we're going to come back up under the hand and switch up sides. So this is just variation of 99. We're not rolling through the hips quite yet. We'll do that in subsequent days. It's a progression that I need to get to. I know you guys are so strong already, but I got to catch up. All right, so down onto the forearm, externally rotated shoulder, left hand reaches to the sky, left hand sweeps directly backwards, nice opening through the chest. So your chest muscles are very important for your shoulder positioning. When they are shortened, which they often become because when we inwardly rotate, those muscles shorten up. This is a great stretch to help them open. And there's basically two of them, the pec major and minor. Yeah, I'm not going to get into much detail. I know you only had one copy so far. Oh, it's not about you, is it? Oh yeah, it completely is. Hope you're having as much fun as I am. All right, and then sweep it back up. And on this rep, we're going to bring it back down, come back up into the hand. We're going to do a couple more stretches as we bring bottoms of the feet together, come into a boat-like position. Now there's the inclination to do this with the tailbone being the resting point. I like you to, or assist if you need, if you can. If you've got the control there, just come up onto the sit bones, and if you need the arms assist to get there, even if the legs are narrow as opposed to wide apart, just get onto those sit bones. Do it, girl. Now, if you're able to, bring hands over heels, or ankles, sorry. And then we're going to take the chest to make it nice and proud. So this is another way to do it. So if you want to get a little bit of experiment going on, let's say I can't get there, try with one hand at a time. And once you're going to get it locked down, there you go. Got a nice thing going on. So we're going to work to open those inner thigh muscles by trying to rotate the knees towards the earth as we grow the spine long. And we're going to take a little bit of neck stretching here. So we're going to keep the chin parallel to the earth. We're going to take the right ear, and we're going to lower it down to the right side. And just feel a nice left side stretch. So we're not diving in with the head. We just got that nice long spine. We're going to take the chin now, and we're going to rotate it towards the right shoulder and let it drop down ever so slightly. Or more, it might be available for you. Then come back up, bring it back center, reset the whole body, and then go to the opposite side. And you will notice that maybe one side goes, oh, this is so easy to do. And the other side goes, I don't know what's going on here, but I don't like it. Try to like it. When you're ready, take the chin and dive it towards the left shoulder. Raise it back up. Nice. Now extend the legs all the way out. Come onto your tailbone. We're coming back down onto the mat. Oh, those hip flexors feel like they got a little bit of work today. We're going to do a little figure four. Another great stretch. So as we plant the right foot, I'm going to start with on the left thigh. I'm going to take my right knee without the assistance of any hands. I'm going to try to rotate it away from this body. So I'm going to activate that muscle, one of the external rotators of the hip. And while we keep that external rotation effort active, which means we're not going to kind of just give into the stretch, we're going to use the left leg and the right knee to kind of facilitate a better stretch for those right side external rotators. I'm going to assist by grabbing my hamstrings. And if you want, you can kind of use your forearm to help push away the leg. But I urge you, if you can, to try to just use the external muscles, the outside muscles of that leg and that hip, to try to actively rotate the knee as we actively pull in that left side. Beautiful. And then release this and switch it up. Once you get the anchor, start the process of that external rotation. Once you kind of got it set, let's start in with the right leg, start pulling in. Give your best effort to try to rotate that left knee as you pull in that right leg. Use your forearm if you need. Pull in a little deeper. And on the next breath you take, as you release it, return those feet back to the earth. And then once they touch down, bring both knees up and in, bring the forehead up to meet the knee, and rock and roll all the way up to a seated position. I can see everybody's lovely face. I'm going to extend my legs straight out, but I'm going to bring my hands over heart. Thank you for joining us today. Namaste. Now, it didn't stay in bed. Good job.
Well, that was great.
Thank you.